What's good, Sixers fans? This is your boy, DeShields II. You guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just gotta charge it to the game. If you guys are new to my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you guys have been loyal to the channel, loyal to the soil from the very beginning, you already know what my heart is. You know how we get down here at Chalk It Up. Also, make sure you guys go check out that Chalk It Up merch shop as well. The links are available down below in the description if you want to support me and the channel. And without further ado, let's head right into the content. I must admit, the Sixers could be up 3-0 right now. They could if they figured their problems out a little sooner. But nonetheless, we're up in this series 2-1. And we have an opportunity to go up 3-1 in Atlanta on their home turf. And I honestly believe we can get it done. I feel that we figured out the cheat code to handling a guy like Trae Young. Now, Trae Young, he's been doing his thing, man. He's been averaging 25 points for the series. He dropped 28 points last game on 9-17 shooting, 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Very efficient, right? But let's be real. He hasn't really been able to make impactful plays, put up impactful points or assists in this series. Just thinking about last game, you know, the team as a whole, when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks, they only shot 47% from the field as a team and shot a measly 26% from the three-point line. Whereas though the Sixers shot 58% from the field, and the Sixers also shot 47% from the three-point line. So we were just an overall more efficient team than they were. We forced them into bad shots, and they took more shots than us. So they actually had more possessions. But nonetheless, we forced them into bad shots. And we really just took care of our business in Atlanta, and we still got work to do. Things are starting to look a little clearer when it comes to the Eastern Conference Final because, you know, I really believe the Sixers are going to finish this series and go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But then things are getting kind of blurry when it comes to that Brooklyn-Milwaukee series. Right now it's tied 2-2. Brooklyn has been dealing with a James Harden injury and now a Kyrie Irving injury, and now KD has to pretty much carry the load on his own along with Blake Griffin and guys like Joe Harris. But the Milwaukee Bucks have all the momentum. They have the heart of Milwaukee following them. They have Giannis, who's playing with a head of steam. They got Chris Middleton, who's found his juice again. They got Jrue Holiday, who's actually starting to play really well. About time, right? But nonetheless, these guys are potentially going to take a stranglehold on this series very soon. And I feel like the Sixers need to finish their food long before the Brooklyn-Milwaukee series is done. Now, my whole theory was if we're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and potentially the Finals, we need Milwaukee and we need Brooklyn to literally beat each other up so bad to the point where by the time they get to us, they're a shell of themselves. We need to be as well rested as possible. We need to make sure Embiid and Danny Green have as enough time as possible to get healthy again. Even though Joel Embiid has pretty much been dominating these games regardless of his health, my man has been putting up 30 balls and 40 balls like on a torn meniscus. So we got to give him credit where credit is due. But this Sixers team cannot play with their food tonight. They cannot rest on their laurels. They cannot allow this team to get any more confidence than they already have. We've already split one at home, and we can't afford to do it on the road if we want to close this game or close this series out in Philadelphia. We have a real opportunity to do so if we don't play with our food tonight. And also, we have to make our free throws, especially when it matters. The last thing I want to happen is that Hackabin to continue to haunt us, but it seems like teams are going to employ that mindset whenever they have the opportunity, especially if it makes sense for them. So far, Atlanta has only done it at least maybe once or twice, I believe, in this entire series. So not many times have they really tried to take advantage of Ben's lackadaisical free throw shooting, but as a team, we've only shot 64% compared to Atlanta's 84%. We gotta take all the points we can get when it comes to this Atlanta team because they're not going to go away. They're young, they're fiery, and they just have a lot of shooters around them. And I don't expect them to shoot 6 for 23 again. I also don't expect them to put up 23 pointers like they did in Game 1. So it's going to be somewhere between that. I know that's a very large disparity, but I feel like the Sixers have figured out how to play the Atlanta Hawks. We've been running them off of the three-point line. We've been forcing them into bad shots. We've been forcing their spot-up shooters, rather, to become ball handlers and playmakers and to create their own shots. Whereas Trae Young, he's pretty much just been, self-serving himself. Trae Young hasn't really been able to dominate these games by way of Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle. Those guys have been locking him up, forcing him into bad situations, making it hard for him to see the entire court. And those guys have length. Those guys have been putting their hands in the passing lanes. And we've just been playing overall great defense on the Atlanta Hawks since the second half of Game 1. And I'll admit, man, We should have won game 1. But nonetheless, we played with our food too early. We had Danny Green guarding Trae Young way too long. And if we would have figured it out beforehand, if we wouldn't have went with that straight bench lineup beforehand, we would be up 3-0 in this series. I firmly believe that. Remember, we only lost about 4 points in that first game, and we were down by as much as 25 to 30 points, I believe. It wasn't a good look at all for us. But I really believe this Sixers team is going to continue to do their thing. They've been going off on defense. Last game they put up 8 steals. They put up 4 blocks before. Both teams had the same amount of turnovers when it comes to 11, and both teams put up the same amount of points off of those turnovers. But the difference is we had more fast break points. We had more points in the paint, and we didn't foul as much. And we just overall dominated the game from beginning to end. So I feel like we need to carry that same energy over. The Sixers do have a task, though, making up for Danny Green's minutes. I believe Matisse Thybulle most likely will get the start just because of defensive purposes. And then Korkmaz is going to come in and do his thing. Shea Milton is going to come in and do his thing. Tyrese Maxey is going to come in and do his thing. George Hill is going to come in and do his thing. The great thing about this team is we actually have a good amount of guards that can put the ball on the floor. So I'm not too worried about scoring production that we're going to be missing from Danny Green. Because Danny Green actually hasn't been doing well scoring-wise. He's actually been very inaccurate from the three-point line this series. He hasn't really been the most efficient player. He's been good defensively in the previous series, but this series he hasn't really been able to really leave his mark on offense and or defense. But I really believe the Sixers are going to be okay. We just can't play with our food. We got to come out with a head of steam. We got to put our foot on their throat, and we can't allow them to have any sort of confidence or give them the slightest semblance of you guys are getting back into the series. We're going to take it back to Philadelphia, and we're going to finish it in Philadelphia, and it's straight like that. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been locked in your dose of chalk it up. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. One love, and let's go Sixers.